Remember what Jesus said in Matthew chapter 5 and verse 17? He said, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I am not come to destroy, but to fulfill. Fulfill what? The law. Verse 18, for verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass from the law till all be fulfilled. Wow. Now, we were just saying that lexical exactitude is tyranny, and now Jesus is saying not one jot or tittle. Jot is that dot on top of the I or the J. Tittle is that cross on the T. Jesus says not one jot nor one tittle. This is before we were just saying kind of the opposite. But what does Jesus mean? What is he trying to say? What does this say about God? Follow along. What does it say about God? Jesus says not one jot or one tittle. Not one jot or one tittle of what? Of his law. Not one jot or one tittle of his law. What law? Huh? Work with me. What law? The law of love, yes, but you know the answer that I'm looking for. What law? You know the answer. What law? The 10 Commandments. Don't try to avoid that law now. God gave it to us because we needed it. So he's speaking about the 10 Commandments. So not one jot or one tittle of the 10 Commandments. Who wrote the law? Who wrote that? God wrote it. Now, how did God write it? With his own finger. With his own finger, God wrote the law. And to be sure, the Bible does say that in the book of Exodus in chapter 31. It says, and he gave unto Moses the law when he had made an end of communing with him upon Mount Sinai, 2 tables of testimony, tables of stone, written with the finger of God. And Jesus says, not one jot or one tittle shall be removed. Was Jesus serious when he said that? But the question is, what did he mean? What did he mean? But further than that, I would ask Jesus, what law are you talking about? And he would say, the 10 Commandments. But I would also have a follow-up question for Christ. And he likes when we ask some questions. Let's not think that we can't ask Jesus questions. I would then follow up and say, well, which version of the 10 Commandments? Which version? The heart of the 10 Commandments is which law? Yes. Which one of the 10 Commandments? The fourth. Sister White envisioned in the book Early Writings, she writes that she saw the law and that both tables were shining, but the one with the first 4, they were shining brighter than the other 6, and that the fourth one was shining above all of them. There's something special about that. What does God mean? What does this reveal about God is what we should consider there. We're not going to go into that, but I just wanted to zero in on that fourth one. We're going to zero in on that fourth one. Because I would ask Christ, you said not one jot or no one tittle, and the question would be, well, which version though? Which version? Because you know there are 2 different versions. But our question needs to be, what does this say about God? Please follow this thing. Let's go to the book of Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20. We know what it says, the 4th commandment, reading from verse 8. And we could probably just say it all together because we have it memorized already. Exodus chapter 20, the 4th commandment. What does it say? Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy works. But the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the 7th day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. That is the 4th commandment given by God. And Jesus said, not one jot nor one tittle. Not one jot nor one tittle. But which version, Lord? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 5. Because in Deuteronomy chapter 5, the 10 commandments are brought forth again. And they were written by who? By his own finger. Okay. Now Jesus says not one jot nor one tittle. So what does it say here in Deuteronomy? We're going to read the 4th commandment in Deuteronomy chapter 5, reading from verse 12. If we're there, let's say amen. Not yet. Just say hold on now. Okay. All right. Deuteronomy chapter 5. Reading the 4th commandment from verse 12, it says, keep this Sabbath day to sanctify it. Pause. The one over there in Exodus, it says, remember. But this doesn't say remember over here. But it does say keep. So it's not lexical exactitude, but it is the principle of the idea that God is talking about. All right, let's keep on reading. You got me, Dati. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord thy God hath commanded thee. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, nor thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thine ox, nor thine ass, nor any of thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates, that thy manservant and maidservant may rest as well as thou. Verse 15, and remember that thou wast a servant in the land of Egypt, and that the Lord thy God brought thee out thence through a mighty hand and by a stretched out arm. Therefore the Lord thy God commanded thee to keep. As a result of this, the Lord told you to keep the Sabbath day? Wait a minute here. It looks like many jots and many tittles were taken away from what we read in Exodus chapter 20. And other stuff was added. What does this say about God? That's the question. The law is not a list of deeds to be done and sins to be shunned. Yes, it leads you to see the things that you should not and the things that you should do, but most importantly, it's revealing something about God. It's the transcript of his character. When I look at these two versions of the law, it's the same thing. How does this make God look? It makes him look not only good, it makes him look very good. Because in that first version, it says to worship him that made the heavens. Worship, keep the Sabbath because God is your creator. But in the version of Deuteronomy, he's saying keep the Sabbath because God is your deliverer. So you see, we are doubly God's by creation and by deliverance. So the idea in the fourth commandment herein, when Jesus is saying not one jot or one tittle, he's speaking about the principle of what this is revealing about God. What this is revealing about God is that he is not only our creator, but our restorer, our deliverer, and that he's altogether lovely. So this is good stuff over here. That when we look at the Sabbath, it's not just because God has created us, because here we are, but we messed up his creation. But God would recreate us into his image. So that's